Welcome to the Patrick Real Estate Show, where we explore the fascinating world of real estate investing with your host, Patrick Switek. Patrick is a dynamic young entrepreneur and an accomplished real estate investor who's passionate about helping others achieve financial freedom. Each week, we sit down with some of the most inspiring individuals in the real estate industry and delve into their personal journeys, lessons learned, and secrets to their success. Let's dive into this week's episode.
All right, guys, welcome to the Patrick Real Estate Show. Today, we're going to be joined in by Kassidy Warren. He's got 9 short-term rentals currently, and then he also has 1 hotel, but 2 under contract. And he's been super bullish on getting into the hotel space. On top of that, he also mentors a lot of people when it comes to hotel investing and even short-term rental investing. One of the specialties for Cassidy is really his attention to detail and understanding the creative experience for the guests. So how do you create design that gets that experience that guests are looking for when you go into these spaces? And these are not just your 40-unit hotels. These are your boutique, high experiential, high touch point boutique hotels. So I'm just really excited to welcome him to the Patrick Real Estate Show. We're recording here. Pull up your listing in person. I'm just excited to just get the conversation going.
Dude, Patrick, you're an absolute professional, man. I'm so excited to be here. For everyone listening out there, Patrick came into my podcast studio and said, "Can we film my podcast? Patrick's podcast."
And it's funny, if you're seeing the videos, it's literally For Your Own Good by Kassidy Warren, which is a podcast I highly recommend watching and listening to.
Yeah.
I do think it's just launched it, which is...
Yeah, as of today, we've got 18 episodes out. We've got another 18 in the bank. Like, we've already recorded a bunch. We're here at Level Up Your Listing right now. We're going to record 11 over the next couple days, and I'm really excited. I've been super passionate and excited about doing this podcast and focusing on video and in-person conversations.
Absolutely.
I've been traveling to San Diego, to Solvang, to Austin. We're going to go to Denver, New York. Basically, I'm going on tour with this podcast so that we can do it in person and get good video and make great connections. And that's what we've been doing. And yeah, the name of the podcast is For Your Own Good. It's on Apple, Spotify. We're starting to upload it to.
You should check it out for your own good.
Yeah, it's for your own good. So we want to talk. We're talking real estate. We're talking finance, but we're also talking to just people that are opinionated, I guess I'll say, or people that have something to say.
So you brought me on.
That's right. Patrick's got a lot of opinions. So
I think our conversations always go really deep. I do want to get into your story for the people that don't know who you are potentially. Where did you start? How did you get into the short-term rental game, or even in real estate?
Yeah, first piece of real estate I ever bought was my wife and I bought our primary residence, which now I actually tell people don't do that, go rent. But it worked out for us because, and I'll fast forward a little bit, that's how we ended up buying multiple houses, was using a HELOC from the equity in that primary residence, in that house, to go do that. But the way that we started investing first was in short-term rentals, but it was house hacking our house. We had a spare bedroom, and we rented it out for $35 a night. This is back in 2015. This is like OG Airbnb days when people thought you were weird to be on Airbnb. And they didn't understand people coming into your home, and they thought people were going to murder you and all that stuff, right? But what ended up happening is we fell in love with it, and we met a lot of great people. We came home from our lunch breaks. We were working corporate. We came home from our lunch breaks to flip it, to turn it. We learned about guest messaging. We did all of that. And so ultimately, we ended up quitting our full-time jobs to go live in our van. And that's when we decided we wanted to go all in on buying short-term rentals. And so we spent about 6 months in the van. Long story short, it didn't work out for us in the van. It was a hard lesson of maybe this isn't the life for you. But
It's a cool life.
Yeah, we were in a lot of Walmart parking lots. Yeah. We were broken down a lot. Basically, the universe was telling us, you need to go do what you just decided you wanted to do. It was the universe was go back to work for a little bit and go invest in short-term rentals. So
there you go.
Yeah, we bought the first one in Cleveland, which a lot of people are like, why Cleveland? And the great thing is we bought it for $277,000. We just sold it for $450,000. And in that time, we did on average about $70K in gross revenue. And so if you add up everything that we made on that Cleveland property, when everyone was like, why the hell are you investing in Cleveland? And when you add up all the money that we made on that property, we made over $400,000 in just 5 years. And that was a relatively easy property to operate and own. We got tax benefits from it. So after Cleveland, we basically bought 2 every year. And we bought bigger, we did bigger designs, bigger renovations, bigger budgets, bigger timelines, more contractors, more design. And what we focus on, especially in our properties in Arizona, is creating a sort of a resort-like experience.
Can you explain that? What's a resort-like experience?
Yeah, we like to think of, actually, that's in your neck of the woods, the Ace Hotel. That was a really inspiring hotel for us. It's a hotel or a house that you never want to leave, because all you want to do is sit by the pool, lay on the couch, and read, hit the hot tub. Maybe you got some games. We don't really do games. We like to have adults and families feel like they're at peace and that they're connected together in the house. We have vintage games, vintage furniture. We try to evoke emotions in each of our rooms, in each of our spaces, so that you don't want to leave.
But explain, like, what's evoking emotion? Like, is it like a play con in the bedroom, or what does that look like?
No, that's not our style.
Yeah.
Basically, we try to do a little higher end design. We do a lot of renovations, and so we design and curate the spaces, like bathrooms, for example. When you go stay at our place, you are going to not want to leave the bathroom, because we do the rain, fall, shower heads. We pick incredible tile. We go bigger, bolder. Like, we were doing curbless showers. We were doing pink tile, red tile, green tile, like, not your gray and white stuff that you just see every day. The finishes that we pick, the textures, the textiles, the way that we curate a space is that when you walk into it, you know that we curated it for you to feel good in that space and to be used in a certain way. So I know I'm not giving you a specific answer of, oh yeah, we just put Marvel superhero wallpaper and like that sort of thing. We don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
I wanted you to specify.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, we channel the like, when I think about staying at a hotel or an Airbnb or a resort, I just think about wanting to be at peace and be connected with myself and connected with others in each of the different rooms. And so depending on the rooms, we will design them differently to do that. So I just explained the bathrooms, but then at our...
We're not commingling in the bathroom, right?
Maybe, Joshua Tree, maybe.
It's a weird place,
but
I got you.
So here's an example on the next property that we're going to do that we haven't bought, but I know it's going to have a sunken living room.
I love those.
Conversation pits. That's what I mean. It's because you get in there and all you want to do is lounge and you're connected and you're free and you're looking at each other and there's a fireplace and there's magazines and there's these things that create almost like nostalgia but connectedness. And so we
bring back something. Bring them back.
Looking at my wife. Bringing it back. So that's the sort of stuff. And then another recent project. Like, we got a really vintage Italian marble table. We combine a lot of old with new. And that is also how you can evoke some emotions. Like, when you look at an Eames chair, do you know what an Eames chair is?
Of course.
Exactly. So we have that style of chair. It's not an exact Eames, but it's almost like that. Coupled with these old bookcases full of vintage board games and vintage books and crystals and this sort of stuff. And like the mushroom lamps. We're creating this environment that you wouldn't have created for yourself, and we're allowing you to step into it and enjoy it and be part of it. And then the different art, we're trying to curate a design that is not just, we bought Wayfair furniture, no offense to Wayfair, sorry, but we like
the sponsors.
I know, it is one of the sponsors of the conference. But we work really hard at curating the spaces with the right pieces of furniture and finishes to do something that other people are not doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so when you come into a space, maybe let's explain what's one of your projects that you're most proud of.
Yeah, the most recent one.
Okay, cool. They get better and better.
Yes, yes.
Doesn't have a something logo in it now. So
No, but I was channeling like 70s loft vinyl record kind of thing.
So explain that place. Let's explain the experiences throughout every room for a place like that, how that was curated for the user.
Okay, great question. Because, and I teach, this is actually part of my velocity money strategy, when you're going and you're doing renovations on a property. You want to do things that are, especially for short-term rentals, you want to do things that are going to combine different decisions. You've got, is this a cash flow decision? Is this an appreciation decision, meaning an increase in value? Or is this something that I just have to do, replace the sewer line or whatever? If you can combine all of those three together, you're going to do really well with your property, because you're going to increase cash flow, you're going to increase the value of the property, and you're taking care of functional foundational issues. With that, the two back bedrooms, one of the things that we try to do at all the properties is each bedroom gets its own bathroom, right? So that everyone gets their own private space. So even if you're in a big house with a family, everyone can still branch off, right? And so then each space gets its own bathroom that's different than the other bathrooms. They likely will get a private patio that's different from the other bedrooms. Each bedroom needs to be special and unique to the couple or the person staying in it.
They're all en suites.
Yes, in that particular house, yeah. Yeah, so that's, and I know not everybody can do that, but when you're looking to do something like what we do, we try to create what we want. We don't just take what we're given and say that's it. So the other piece of that is there was, one of the bedrooms, there was just an empty kind of office type space, and we turned that into a bathroom with a big window and a big window door out to a private patio, and so now you're showering with daylight coming in. It's a pretty cool experience. It's a pretty cool experience, and then you get a private patio. And then the other bedroom, where they used to share a bathroom, we split that off, and now they get their own. And then we also created a frontage, a new wall that is an architecturally significant wall. It looks good, basically. We put some breeze blocks. We made it look really nice, and we added landscaping. And what that did is that allowed us to create a huge private patio off of the other bedroom. So we looked at the space and said, how can we make this better? So we could put a wall out front. Now it looks better from the street. Now we put landscaping. That's good for property value and curb appeal. So now when you walk up to the house, you're feeling good because you're seeing all this landscape. You're not seeing a bunch of rocks and dirt. And we created something that's really special, and you get your own private space. That patio is one of my favorite places in the world to sit, is that specific patio that we built that used to just be dirt basically on the street. And so that's what I love to do. And so I think a lot of people were so busy and we're so disconnected from nature. We're so disconnected from ourselves. And so I'm trying to create moments for people to just sit and be. And so if you've got your Kindle, if you've got your book, if you just want to lay down on the brick out there, you can. And we put this giant slider off of the bedroom. It used to be a tiny window. Giant slider off the bedroom. So now the bedroom, you're indoor, outdoor, right? So that we try to create that. And so as we move into hotels now, I'm going to channel that even harder. The indoor, outdoor connectedness in nature, connected with self, that's what people need. That's what people want. And so the hotel that we are working on right now, it's getting there, but it's not exactly where I want it to be. Just it's the first step. And then I want to go all in on like making sure that whatever design it is, whatever the space it's curated to be, it's connecting you with yourself and it's connecting you with nature. That's my goal.
That's amazing. And I love all this. And I know that you get a lot of inspiration from all the traveling you do. I think you've been staying at Airbnbs you stayed at one of our short-term rentals in Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
But you've been traveling all around to different short-term rentals everywhere, including your own. I feel like that's where you bring a lot of inspiration to what you do and what you create.
I'm glad that you brought that up because that is really how we that's how we channeled all of our energy. And I say our and we a lot because my wife and I really did all this. She's sitting in the room when we were helping with all the camera smiling. Yeah. But I'm glad that you brought that up because in the beginning, that's exactly what we did. And then that's what we did for the last 5 years is we channeled all of our travels and everything we liked and didn't like. And that's right.
Even when we did the tour of Joshua Tree properties, you were just like every little detail you were picking up, like, oh wow, look at this space, look how this is activated in here. And so I might use that inspiration for something else in the future.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, exactly. And so now we're getting to the point where it's, we're staying in a bunch of Airbnbs in Scottsdale for this conference. We stayed at 2. Yeah. They're basically cookie cutter versions of, if you stayed in Airbnb in Scottsdale, you stayed in every Airbnb in Scottsdale. I'm sorry everybody out there, but like the white cabinets with the Chloe tile and gold finishes and like we've seen them all. So we're uninspired right now. So we're going to go start traveling again. And we've got a trip to Mexico City and Merida, Mexico, where we're going to do basically research to go look at what people are doing like in Mexico City and in Mexico.
So when you travel to Mexico City, is that a write-off?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Because we are going there. We're staying at nicer hotels. We're staying at 2 in Mexico City and then 1 Airbnb in Merida. And we are there to go talk to people. We are there to go look at furniture. We are there to go get inspired by the architecture. Like, it absolutely is a research trip for, like, implementing this into our next properties.
Sure. Is that, like, a good tip to have your wife as your business partner? Because then you can just write off a lot more things. If business is interconnecting with what you do.
Yeah, you still have to be careful. Like, just because you like go out to dinner and you talk about something about work doesn't mean that you can write it off. There's still things that you need to do, and really, it's up to you on if you're afraid of getting audited or not. But if you are traveling and you are doing business activities, what the IRS, I think, what they'll ask you is, did you go there with the like intention of doing business for your business, or did you go there for personal reasons and then you just talked about work? You know what I mean? So like everything with auditing, and I've never been audited, but with write-offs, it's what story can you tell about it? Not that it's fake or not true, but you need to be able to be like, yeah, this is exactly why we did this. Yeah, and so when we leave, or while we're there, we will take notes. We will have a document of, oh yeah, these are the furniture places, this is what we like, this is what we didn't like. All of our Instagram, all of our videos and pictures and all that will be evidence, quote-unquote evidence of the work that we did. But I don't try to write everything off. I try to buy more real estate and depreciate things, right? I don't want to do a ton of expenses if I don't have to. I'd rather just buy real estate and depreciate. So, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited because I think there's people doing really cool stuff right now. Travis Chambers is doing Outpost X.
The world is exploding.
Yes. Yeah, and Ben Wolf is doing the Onera stuff and the stuff down in Texas, and I think he's got a big project that's coming up. But beyond that, there's not like a ton of really inspiring stuff going on. And I want to go outside of the U.S. I want to go travel to different places. I want to go stay in exceptionally like upscale. What are the stuff that we can pull from the best brands and the best unique stays, and then bring that into our vision and help implement our vision? I'm thinking about when they talk about old artists or old creators or old like people that have done things in the past. But oh yeah, I'm like curious as to what people are going to say about this period of our life. Oh yeah, remember when Cassidy and Aaron just started traveling to Mexico all the time, and then they built this resort? Like that's what I'm.
You're building the story right now.
We are building the story for this next thing, and we're going to be really intentional about what we buy and what we build. Because part of what we did is we took advantage of all the low interest rates. We took advantage, we were doing consulting work for the past 5 years. So we were doing double duty on the real estate investing and the consulting work. And it was just, we got so burned out. But we kept buying houses because we knew it was the right thing to do. And now I want to go create something that's like iconic.
So let's dive into that, because I think this is really where people might be listening, and you're an artist, okay? I'm gonna be straight up. You have a very artistic side to you, but you also, interesting enough, have a really strong business side to you. So, going into an investment like this, people are gonna ask you, how do you know that this extra $10,000 is real for, let's say, I don't know, Venetian plaster in your bathroom is gonna really elevate the experience enough to be able to say, okay, that is justified expense. So when does the balance of art and will people appreciate that? Will people pay more for that? Like,
that's what I'm trying to figure out. That's like the perfect question. That's one of the big questions and things I'm going to go figure out. And my assumption is that if you create enough momentum, if you create enough desire of the product, for one, and then also just who you are. So I'm hoping that I can go create enough momentum behind me and my wife and what we're doing that people will trust us when we say, this is worth it. The other side of that is that there are people and groups and syndicators, basically real estate investor groups, like the Lafayette down in San Diego. I forget the name of the investors that are doing that one, but they are just pumping cash into that thing. And I want to find out, how do you guys justify this?
Yeah.
And it might be that their investors don't need the same type of returns that other people might expect when you go buy a regular property, because they want the Lafayette. They want the Amangiris. They want to be part of something special. So I think that's part of it. You can't just go spend money to spend money. I think what you need to go build what you want to build is you need the right people on the team, that people are going to be like, yes, that is the artist, that is the creator, that is the person. It's not just me.
Take that one. They had in mind how much.
No, exactly. No, there's no way. Like, he was just creating. And that's what I want to do. So yes, I've been such a numbers guy. I've been such a ROI, like all this, except on our own properties, on our houses. I didn't know what was gonna. There's some properties. Oh, you're really taking bets because there wasn't a lot of data. And even on the properties that we bought, we never would have bought them if we just relied on the data. I think if you go back to all of them, they all said that we were going to gross 30 to 40K. And we crushed it.
Those investors never win.
That's what I mean. And so my pitch is going to be...
So how much did you pay for it? And how much did you invest into it? And what did you think it was going to be? And what did it end up being?
Yeah, so the one that was our kind of first big jump was we bought it for $420,000. I think we put $100K into it. We did a ton of reno, landscaping. We made it look really nice. I think we actually only put $80K. So we were all in for $500K. And then it was worth, at that time, it was worth $650 after that. Air DNA said we would do $35K. And we were doing $120K. Gross top line revenue. On a $420,000 house. And COVID boom and all that sort of stuff. But we knew the product, we knew the neighborhood. There's something that my wife and I share in our ability to see a good neighborhood. We see through all of the BS. We see through all of the problems and issues, which can be bad at some point because then you're just taking on more work. But we see the value in the neighborhood. We see the value in the land. We see the value in the property. We see the character. We see what we can do with it without just turning it into a white box. So I think the question that you asked about how do you know when doing the Venetian plaster is worth the extra $10,000 per square foot or whatever, I think it really comes down to building the right team and honing in on the right products. I think you're still going to spend the money, but the investors are going to want to be part of something big. The investors are going to want to be a part of something that is iconic. And so maybe on the first one, we got to go do a little bit of on our own. We got to put more of our own cash in. We got to do a lot of the legwork. We got to figure that out. But the first one is going to be what we really want to show the world that we can do.
I think there's something about leaving a legacy. I think there's something about passing down art, because I think art can be appreciated depending on the perspective that perceives that, right? So whoever sees it, and beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? You don't know how much something becomes appreciated until you see it in motion. That's a human thing, right? Art is a part of a human condition. I feel like in this day and age, look at modernism. Look at buildings in parts of the United States, like even in Phoenix, how modular they are and how they all look the same, with the big glass and the efficient metal construction. And then look at Europe and watch all the crevices and all the detailed work that goes into a post in Europe, old century, 1400s, whatever it was, and now what it looks like. And it's just completely different. Yeah. We're going towards efficiency versus art. And I think people are realizing that there's beauty in the art. It doesn't have to be old, but it's bringing those elements back into the modern world. I think that's what you're doing.
Yeah, and I got the chance actually in Joshua Tree to go, and this is all thanks to you actually, because you made the connections through Chris, the Horse Whisperer, and then I met a guy there who gave me a tour of his house, which is not really a house, it's a piece of art in nature. It's one of the top 10 architectural homes in the world. And I was standing that thing.
Which one was it?
Well, I can't say. I can't say. I'll show you later.
Okay.
But have I not told you this?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you. I'll show you later. Yeah, but because of your connection, I was able to do this. And Aaron and I were standing in this art piece that's a home, and I felt so normal. And this is what I was meant to build. It was like the universe was telling me, Cassidy, you need to go create this because you keep wanting other people to do it, but nobody else is going to do it too. So I feel I'm on a mission to go create something that's really, truly special. But I'm so used to the finance side and the numbers side and the, how do we get lending and all that stuff. And I think I have to change the way I approach this next project and just be the creator and allow others to figure out. I know the numbers, I can be a part of it, but I need to channel my creativity and being an artist. And I know that sounds weird, and if anyone's known me, from my past life, they're like, Cassidy, it sounds so funny talking about creating reality and you're an artist. And I'm not full on myself. This is not an ego thing. This is I started really tapping into who I really feel I'm meant to be. And it's like, I'm a creator and I want to create art. And this is my art. Building real estate and amazing spaces is my art. I can't play a piano or a guitar to save my life. I can't create music. I can't create pottery. I can't paint a picture. I can't draw anything, but I can create beautiful spaces for people to enjoy.
When you were growing up, were you good at math or were you good at English?
This is so great that you brought this up.
So I was gonna say.
Math, 100%. Yeah.
And growing up, what did everyone say? You were right side brain, you're very logical, you're very numbers driven, and you grow up and you're like, wait, I'm actually pretty creative.
Yeah. I'm talking about this so much that unwinding the stories that society and your parents and everyone has told you. Because everyone told me, oh, you're smart. Yeah. Yeah, which I am smart. I do know numbers, but also that doesn't define who you truly are and what you truly want to be doing. You don't have to go into the box. Yeah, my English scores were not great, but that doesn't mean that I can't go create other things or that it doesn't light me up or that I don't really enjoy it. And especially as I started paying attention, I'm like, oh, who do I resonate with? Who am I in the flow state with? Who am I in the zone with? And is it creators or is it like accountants and finance and engineers? I am an engineer. I was an engineer. There's nothing wrong with being an engineer, and I love engineers. But I also think engineers are creators too, just in their own way. But I think we all need to tap into us. There's a book called The Artist's Way, and this is what really opened my eyes. It just says over and over again, you are an artist, you are a creator. We are all creators. So I recommend anybody, if you've been told that you're right brain, numbers, finance, like whatever, go read The Artist's Way, go read Turning Pro, go read these books that will get you outside of yourself, and then start thinking about why, like, you took the career that you did and why people told you you're smart and why. And a lot of it came back to your test scores in school. I just don't think that's like what we should be doing as adults. We should go find our power. We should go step into our power. Yeah, your zone of genius, your flow state, your superpower, like all of that. Run head first into the thing that is calling to you. On Monday, I have a podcast episode dropping that's about stepping into your superpower, and it's all about exactly this, that thing inside of you has been calling to you and nagging at you your entire life, but we need to pay attention to it. And I think now in 2025 is the year to do it. We see that it doesn't matter who you are or what you do, you can do anything that you want. And the sooner that you run straight towards the thing that you fear the most, which is the thing that will set you free, that is when your life will change. That one is when you'll get true fulfillment. And that's what I'm trying to channel right now. And I'll be honest with you, it's hard. Every day, I want to create this art in nature. I'm sitting here talking to you like I'm so confident I'm going to do it. And then tomorrow will come and it's, but the numbers, and I got to go buy more real estate. This project's going to take a long time.
Support it.
Exactly. How am I going to support it? So what we're doing is we're selling properties. And so we've sold a couple properties. We sold our house, our primary residence that we lived in. We sold one of the investments. And we're going to use that just to sit and like focus on creating and being. Talking to people like you about this has come up. I interviewed Kevin Reardon a couple days ago, who he's in hotels too. Him and his wife sold their hotel a year ago. They were going to go buy a bunch of property, and they decided just to chill for a year, and he said it was the best thing that he ever did. And then now they've got a real dial-in focus on what they're going to do. And so I think 2025, yeah, you can go all in, you can go hard, you can go buy boutique hotels, you can go buy whatever real estate that you want. But honestly, for me, it's going to be a pullback on the acceleration of everything.
You have to stop to think, right? I think there's clarity in time away, right? There's clarity in time, absence of things to do. I'm a big believer in that. That's why I have vacations, because I need to stop and go, because it distracts you from what am I actually working.
That's right. Yeah, we are all so distracted, even with the work that we have. So you as a business owner, it's your business. You need to be working on it. And so these fires come up, these issues, these things, your team needs, you're like, oh, I'm working, I'm doing good. And then you get to the end of the day, you're like, oh, but I actually wanted to go do this. And I'm at the end of the day and I didn't do anything to go achieve the dream that I want. At the end of the week, I didn't do anything to go achieve the dream that I want. But you're busy. And so where I'm at right now is I'm getting ready to say no to like everything. I'm going to have to unwind like commitments. I'm going to have to unwind different things that I've said yes to. I'm going to have to say no. I'm going to have to hurt people's feelings. Focus. Be so dialed in. And so the podcast is number one focus for this year. And then being able to sit and be, just like you said, to go on a walk, to just sit and to just be in your head without the distractions and the rumination and the appointments and, oh, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. It's not good for us. It doesn't allow for creativity. It allows for other people to have control over us when other people control our schedule. So I know this is a real estate show and we're getting a little deep.
You are coming in as an artist. I guess you can talk like that.
Yeah.
But we can wrap it up here. The last 3 questions I'm going to ask everybody, but also yourself. One special question for you. But the first one is, what book do you recommend people read? I think you mentioned a few, but do you have anything that maybe it doesn't have to be a book, it could be a YouTube channel or something that was instrumental to your growth and everything you've done?
Yeah, I mean, I always talk about my coach, Dan Martell, so Buy Back Your Time, which essentially is getting an executive assistant. My assistant was over there killing it. And there's a book called 10X is Easier Than 2X that teaches you that it's actually easier to go bigger than it is to go smaller. Because when you go bigger, you have to figure out who can help you and how you'll get it done with the throughs, not, oh, I'll just do it all myself. When it's a smaller dream or a smaller goal, we tend to just put it on our own shoulders. When it's a bigger goal, we have to like really be creative and expand our thinking about how and who and when and where and all these other questions that we don't know what to answer. Normally it's, oh, I want to go buy a house, so I'm going to go talk to a lender, I'm going to go do this. If we want to go buy 100 houses in a year, that's a different problem to solve. And it's actually easier to solve it because it makes you think more creatively than just brute force. So 10X is easier than 2X, Buy Back Your Time, and then The Artist's Way, like I mentioned before, about being creative.
And then what, for you, Cassidy, I like to give artists a scenario where there's no limits. I think that's really where things shine, right? Like you're saying, 10X. So if I were to find an investor that really believed in building whatever you want, I think it's bullish on whatever you create. They're going to give you the money for it. Where is it? What is it? How are you involved in it? And what's the project look like?
Yeah, great question. So the where is probably in the desert somewhere. I do love the Tucson desert, or like a Joshua Tree Boulder style, somewhere where the night sky is viewable without light pollution. It's going to be multi-units that are organic architecture. I've got a vision for the design that I want, and each unit is going to be private. There will be some level of sunken living room, like we talked about, but I've got a vision for sort of concrete, stone, glass, rock that's all integrated together, fixed furnishings, like fixed things, really well done wood integration into the actual structure itself. So don't think just like a box with a roof and walls. Think organic shapes that are scattered into the landscape so that you're connected with nature, the animals, things around. And then there's a level of wellness, a wellness component. So part of what I really want to build is there's a concept called Othership. They do some sauna, cold plunge, steam room stuff. I want to incorporate something like that with sound baths into the facility in a central location, whether it's group or individual, really nice finishes, really immersive experience. It's not just a sauna box that you buy from China and it's in a strip mall. This is like the ability to connect with yourself in this experience that we've never done before. And I've been able to do that with hydrotherapy, other sound bath experiences, and I want to do that for other people. And then incorporate nature into it, whether it's guided tours, hikes, walks, mountain biking, having the structures integrated in the landscape is what I want.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the last question, what does the future hold for you?
We talked a lot about it, but
I feel like summer.
no, we were just thinking about what we accomplished over the last 6 years, and it feels like a long time ago, but it doesn't. And so I think this podcast is going to be bigger, and I want to go talk to the best people all over the world, and I want to go meet and work with the best people all over the world. I want to have as many experiences as I possibly can. And so the podcast is going to be as big as I can possibly make it, and then we'll see what that does over the next 5 years, and then I'm just going to continue to try to create experiences with people. It's also, to answer your question, my involvement will be partnering with the people that are so passionate about building these things I'm not going to be the one that's like doing everything myself. It's going to be the creative act of being a part of it and creating with the people side by side. But I really want to give people their opportunity to like help impart their vision, and their craft. Because I'm not the best person to be thinking doing all this stuff, right? I see myself as, oh, maybe I know 10%, but someone else knows 90%. So I want to be part of that, but I also want to allow them to be able to do that. So I think there's going to need to be more traveling for me over the next 5 years.
All right, I think that wallet.
Oh yeah, I know, yeah. And I think slow down the pace a little bit. And only focus on, like I said, the podcast and this type of real estate.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then, with that being said, what if people are just resonating with what you're talking about or want to connect with you and follow your travels? How can they reach you?
I'm on Instagram. I'm at Kassidy.Warren, and that's Cassidy with a K. And you can follow me there. I'm on my stories all the time, helping, teaching, sharing. You can DM me. I usually respond to all my DMs, but that's the best place to go. So
cool. Thanks so much for me joining you. Yeah. But thanks for having me, and thanks for having you. But thanks for listening, everybody, and talk to you guys later.
All right. Thanks, Patrick.
And that's a wrap. Thank you for listening to the Patrick Real Estate Show. If you found this episode helpful, please give us a follow and leave us a 5-star review. Your support truly means a lot. And connect with Patrick in the show notes below. Until next time.